What's going on, guys? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. And in this video, I wanted to talk about whether in the future, possibly the near future, hopefully, will Medicare be accepted in the Philippines? Yeah, just as a precursor to this video here, I wanted to explain the way it works, I think, with Medicare right now, okay? If you're outside the United States, whether you're just traveling or whether you're living, right, outside the United States, for the first 90 days that you're outside the United States, I believe that Medicare would cover like emergency room visits, right? If something happens to you when you're traveling and you have to, ambulance or whatever to an emergency room for stabilization in the emergency room, hopefully for you, I think they cover that. But it's only up to 90 days. When you're out of the country for more than 90 days, you're not going to, I don't think, have any Medicare coverage. So I just wanted to explain that. And then, now it's back to the video. Yeah, so I actually watched an interview on YouTube it was done by an expat here in the Philippines, and he was interviewing a gentleman that was higher up in the Philippine Retirement Authority office, and he was mentioning a couple of things, but one of them was that they were trying to work on a program where Westerners, and I don't know if this would just be Americans or all Westerners, would be able to use their medical insurance, here in the Philippines. And they were needing to organize like a third party company, I guess, whether it's within the Philippines or whatever, to sort of handle this, right? To be able to be the intermediary between the Western, medical insurance and the Philippines medical services, right? For example, we're just talking about the Philippines now. But I thought about it, and he didn't come out and say it, and it's just in the early stages, right? So, it might not happen. It may or may not happen. But I started thinking about this, and I'm like, well, it's got to be Medicare. It can't be like some private, medical insurance. You know what I mean? Like in the U.S., for example, like people that, when they have regular jobs, they often have some kind of medical insurance. But even if you're like, I don't know, like if you're not 65 yet, right? But maybe you want to retire, you're 60 or something. You might have some kind of medical insurance if you're self-employed, but it would be so complicated that I'm almost positive that that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about specifically, Medicare, right? Because you got to be 65 to get it. And then they just deduct Medicare out of your, A and B, Medicare A and B out of your Social Security check if you elect to do so, when you're 65. And a lot of guys here in the Philippines, a lot of expats, a lot of retirees, they because they can't use their Medicare here in the Philippines, sometimes they elect not to take it or not to pay for it. They'll get like the Medicare, I guess, A or whatever, which I think just covers hospitalization or the hospital section part of it. That's free. But then the B is what costs the money, right? And that's like doctors and all that other stuff. Everything else, like tests or any other kind of procedures that have to be done, and of course the doctors that do them, and that's what Medicare B covers, right? That's what you pay for. When you pay your $175 a month out of your Soch, that's what you're paying for in the U.S. So it's got to be Medicare because that's a government entity. It's already in place. It's sort of uniform. For anyone who has it. You know what I mean? There's no differences. It's not like you're using all these different insurance companies and all that. Like concerning like private insurance. And I tell you what, I think it's a great idea because I've been talking about this, maybe not on a video, but I've been mentioning this to people I know here, that for a long time since I've been here, because if you think about it, okay, so the cost of medical here in the Philippines are so much cheaper than the cost of medical in the U.S. Okay, so it would actually save the Medicare money. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be paying out when somebody claims some kind of medical service in the Philippines, like an American, and they're going to use their Medicare. They're able to use the Medicare. The cost is going to be a lot less than it would be if they're in their own country in the U.S. Using Medicare. And at the same time, they're going to collect the same amount of money, and they're going to collect more money because if all these expats here realize that, hey, now I can use my Medicare in the Philippines, they're going to opt to pay that 175 a month out of their Social Security. You know what I mean? They're not going to waive it. So, I mean, Medicare would actually be able to take in more money by doing this, and the outlays of money would be probably less just because the services are just a lot cheaper here. But I think the sticking point is that they need a third party company to manage it. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to just be taking the word of like some medical hospital here in the Philippines and some expat. It's like, okay, yeah, here, just use us. And, like they're worried, it has to be some control to it. We're in a country here that's like 10,000 miles from the U.S. or whatever. So they're not going to, you know what I mean? They need a third party company to control it. And I think that's what they're working on. That's what this gentleman alluded to, from the PRA. Now, would this be something that would be exclusive only to people that have a retirement visa in the Philippines? Probably not. He didn't come out and say that, but I think he was just talking about some of the positives that are going on in the Philippines to try to promote tourism and, just even and people coming here to live, obviously, right? They're like the retirement authority. They're interested in, having Westerners come here to live, and stuff like that. Obviously it's good for the economy of the Philippines. It's good for a lot of things, So that's what he's interested in, but I don't think you would have to be like an SRV visa holder to avail of this benefit, to be able to use like Medicare, for example, here. I think that would be anybody who's of age, anyone who's 65 and older and who has Medicare, whether you're just here, on a tourist visa, or a marriage visa or whatever, right? Balikbayan visa, which they're good for like 1 year if you're married to a Filipina. That's, I think, what he was trying to say. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. I mean, that would be a great idea because, like I said, it would be good for Medicare too, man. They'd be bringing in a lot more, more money, and they would be outlaying less money, So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, please comment, man. Send me a comment and tell me what you think about it. I just think it would be a great idea. But obviously they do have concerns and they need somebody to sort of manage it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, they want to just give some entity in some country 10,000 miles away. Yeah, here's a credit card. Go ahead, have at it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to be like, yeah, we trust you, it has to be managed and all that, But anyway, yeah, great idea, man. I mean, I hope it comes to fruition because that would be something else, It's funny. The other thing he mentioned one other thing, which I don't know, if that would be what you guys would think about it, but he mentioned that they were talking about, right? Like, again, just talking about it at this point, and this is specific to the PRA, and the SRRV visas, but he was talking about, oh, maybe they're going to lower the age down to 40. Like, you know what I mean? Because it used to be 35, and then it was like, I don't know if it was like 5 years ago or something like that. They had concerns that was too young, and so they raised it up to 50, So now he's talking about, oh, maybe we'll lower it down to 40. So I don't know, I mean, in other words, those guys would be the ones that would be getting the visas where you have to put like either $10,000 or $20,000 in a Philippine bank. You know, I mean, it's unlikely that. I guess you could be a military veteran with a military pension. You know what I mean? Like you could, when you're 40 years old, you know, you could have gotten in the military when you were 18, 19, 20, did 20 years or 22 years or whatever, getting a pension at 40 years old. You know what I mean? And then you could get the SRV, you know, the military courtesy one. But for the most part, it's probably going to just affect guys that are, you know, have money or whatever and are here that, you know, are able to put like 10 or 20,000 USD in a Philippine bank, you know, whether they have a pension or not, or don't have a pension, you know. But anyway, I don't know if, like I said, you let me know what you think about that. And actually, I guess the gentleman that was interviewing this guy had availed of the visa when it was only 35 years old, you know, requirement, the minimum age, because the guy now looks like he's only in his 40s or whatever. You know, he's pretty young. He's not like 60 some years old or anything like that. You know, he looks like he's in his 40s. But anyway, that's about it, guys. Please like if you like this video. Send me a comment. And subscribe if you're not already doing so. I really do appreciate it. And share the video too if you know anybody that might be interested in this content. That's it, guys. Again, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I'll see you later, man.